Somebody said, thanks, Bruce. Said, sir, I've been watching your videos for a while now. Can you help me? Had a CAP certification and interview preparation. I think that what they mean is, can I help them prepare for a CAP and the interview? I think that's what they mean. Sometimes I'm trying to interpret what people mean because they're typing really fast and they're. Anyway, yeah, so I have a CAP certification. So if you didn't know, a CAP certification is from the ISC2 squared. Those are the same people who do the CISSP, and one of their certifications is called a CAP, and that certification is specifically tied to the NIST. It's all about certified authorization professional, and it's all about getting the system within the organization to the authorization. And it's very, you would think it'd be practical, and what do you do here? What do you do? It's more like what documents you need. Like, you need to know the process and all the steps in the NIST 837 is its main focus. I would say that there's certain documents that you could use for free. Like, you don't have to use this official guide, which is like $50. This is one of these. Let me see if I can find it. There's an official guide for the CAP course, and that's the one that I've used. This one here. This is it right here. It's okay. It's okay. It's very academic. You can trust that the information that they have in the book is in line with the actual ISC2 square, because it's the official guide on the CAP. So I have this book, and I would recommend it because it's one of the only ones out there that you could say that this is the one right here. It's reputable, right? Yeah, I would recommend this book. And then another thing is I would recommend the FIPS 199. Let me show you FIPS 199. FIPS 199. FIPS 200. This is FIPS 199. This is for security categorization of information systems, federal information systems. And it breaks down how you actually categorize the systems. What's the steps? It's only like an 8-page document. It's pretty short, but this stuff's on the test. Like, you need to know this one really well. You got to understand the concept of this one. Another one is FIPS 200. That stuff, this is another great resource for that test. Minimum security requirements for an information system. Once you categorize a system, it has to have a certain minimum level of security controls in accordance with what impact level it is. If it's an impact level, if it's a low impact system, if it's a moderate impact system, there's a certain level that it's supposed to be at, and FIPS 200 kind of touches on that. Another one that you'll have to know, of course, is the FIPS 837, and that's the actual risk management framework process. You need to know all the steps that are within it. The FIPS 837, and that's this right here. They cover a couple of other ones I was surprised about. They cover FIPS 30, which is risk management. It's a really high level. It's not what you would think, but it's a really high level document. But yeah, this is FIPS. This is NIST 837, and this is covered. You need to know all the steps pretty well. They don't really talk about what you do. It's more like a academic exercise. It's one of those kind of certifications. If you've ever taken an ISC2 certification, that's how they are. They're not very technical. They're very high level, very management type certifications. But yeah, this is the stuff you need to know right here. Authorization boundaries. You need to understand the concepts very well. Another place I would go that's a great resource besides the FIPS documentation I told you, besides NIST 837, NIST 830, NIST 53, I would say. Besides those, you also need to go to the site. Go to isc2squared.org and go to the actual CAP page. That's where I'm at right now. They're going to ask you for your to create an account with them. You don't create an account. They're just going to ask you for your email, your name and your email, fake name, whatever. Put an email in there, and then they're going to open it up. They just want to be able to send you newsletters or whatever, advertise to you. But yeah, so here it is right here. This is the ultimate free CAP ultimate guide. This is one of the best resources that you're going to use as you take your test. And so I already signed up for this, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to download this and let's look at it together. I think my link expired. I think my link expired. Let me see if I have it still. Here it is. Okay, here it is. My bad. All right, here it is right here. Let's download this thing. Yep, this hasn't changed much. Let's see. So let me show you like the main part. You definitely want to read all this stuff. Read all of this. This right here. See this right here? This is perfect. Look at this thing. This process you need to know. This process right here. And actually they're missing a step because they don't have preparation in here. But they need to update that. That's wow. Anyway, so these steps right here, categorize, select, implement, assess, authorize, and ongoing continuous monitoring. These are the steps. And then see this tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. They ask about this, what you do in each step. And the concept, they don't really go into what you do in each step, but you need to understand the concept of each step. The concept is the most important thing for this particular test. Let me see, another part that's really important is this right here. This is it right here. This right here. So when you do study, you want to pay real close attention to this thing. And so what this is a breakdown of how much of each domain is on the test. 16% is the highest portion of the test, and that's coming from assess and audit the security controls. That's the assess portion of the steps, continuous monitoring of the steps, and the one you can't see here is implementation of the steps. And then the least one is going to be authorization. That makes sense because as cybersecurity professionals, we don't do a lot on the authorization piece because by that time we're giving them the package, and the decision makers are the ones who spend the most time in the authorization piece of this whole thing. So this right here is where you want to spend your time, like how you want to strategize your study and all that kind of stuff. Wayne says, so one of the important things that I learned recently is that your encryption methods needs to be FIPS validated with the NIST CVMP. And if not, NIST considers protected data as plain text. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. And that's dealing with, let me check my knowledge real quick. NIST, this is FIPS 140. 140. I know this one because I used to have to deal with this every damn day, and I freaking hated it. 140-2 because cryptography is not my main thing. So every time it comes up, I have to research more stuff about this or that, legacy encryption. So yeah, FIPS 1, this is what you're talking about, right, Wayne? So FIPS 140-2 comes up a lot in the federal government because this is the standard that they use to make sure that their cryptographic modules are within the federal requirements standard, the federal standard. So let's go into this one. FIPS 140-2 is something you probably need to be familiar with. Change notice. Let's see what this. Oh, okay. It's just talking about how it just updated. Okay. So as Wayne said, the encryption has to be up to par with FIPS 140-2. And so FIPS is the Federal Information Processing Standard. And essentially, it regulates some of the processing of federal information systems. So there's a FIPS 199, which is talking about categorization of the system to make sure that the system gets security controls that are commensurate with the level of importance of the system. In other words, in layman's terms, it means the system has to have a level of protection that reflects the importance of the system. If the system's super important, you need to have X level of protection on it. And then you have FIPS 200, which is determining how you're going to select the security controls. And then you have FIPS 140-2, which is what we're looking at here right now, which is cryptographic modules. And this just goes into exactly that, just cryptographic modules, making sure that they are at a level that's of protection that particular system needs, and yet you're not using an out-of-date cryptographic module. Man, I had to look at this so many times. It just kept coming up because information technology is constantly evolving. So it's every time there's a new exploit or somebody breaks a certain thing, and there's a new, like one example would be SHA-1, SHA-1, which was cracked by a supercomputer in China. So nobody can use that. And then you have stuff like legacy stuff like SSL, which is some people are still using on the internet. Unfortunately, some sites you go to who are using your credit card information and stuff, they're using a legacy cryptographic method, which has a bunch of weaknesses and vulnerabilities that have recently been found. So you shouldn't be using. Those are no longer FIPS 140-2 compliant. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about FIPS 140-2. If you're in this space and you're doing NIST 800 type work, FIPS stuff is going to come up every now and then. There's nothing to be alarmed about. It's just talking about the processing of the system. Are we adequately protecting the information as it's being processed? That's the main focus of the FIPS stuff. There's lots of other FIPS documents out there if you go to the NIST system.